So what was the next? Was the next book Venom? Is that where you went?
Yeah, well, it kind of went back and forth. Venom, and then a Spider-Man one-shot, and a Venom. I don't remember the exact sequence there, but it ended up that I was doing a lot of one-shots and limited series, and that's why I use the phrase "I'm the artist of the most number one issues."
Yeah, I was going to just bring that
Spider-Man
up.
or his cast, because I was getting all these one-shots and limited series and annuals, and they're all, I'm going through my resume one day, I'm like, these are all number ones. And I made a connection recently that people don't even like to read comics unless it's with the first issue. Like, my first issue of Amazing Spider-Man was like something like 90 in 92 or
same.
something. I didn't say, oh, I have to read every issue. I just picked it up and I read it.
I think that I kind of chart that with the way the collector market came into comics in the 90s. Yeah. I think people have this mentality that they have to start at number ones now, and then
they more often than not, you find a number one's like a jumping on point, right? They've relaunched or rebooted the series. Right. So, here's a new number one. So you have the people who go out and run out to collect it. Right. Then you have the people who may have been on a comics that are jumping back in. You know, so there's the kind of like a variety of different people who kind of gravitate to that number one. Yeah. And particularly in indie comics, it's good luck trying to sell an issue 2 before, if you don't have the issue 1 ready to go.
I can testify to that. I can testify to personal experience.
But I know what Joe's saying, because even when I was a kid, I would just jump in and grab something if I was unfamiliar with the character. And they also used to write it in a way that you could do that.
That's where I was going to go. Was the style of the storytelling has changed.
It's changed.
You don't even get a story until you've read 5 or 6 issues.
Right.
We also have to remember. Sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We also have to remember, during that era, Spider-Man was at the 500 and something numeration. So if you're I'm going to try to start this from the beginning, and
it was impossible.
Spider-Man 1's $10,000. You're how am I going to make this happen?
That's a valid point. That's absolutely valid. It's okay, when I was younger, there were only say 90 or 100 issues that I had to collect, and they were they were still out of my reach. I was a kid, so even if
back then you didn't know there was nowhere to go to get back issues either,
That's true too. So the idea of having to read or collect 500 issues is probably incredibly intimidating, right? So you can kind of understand the constant relaunchings that happen,
Definitely. So it's kind of like the way things headed,
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think graphic novels are bigger, because people can get that entire storyline now, versus, collecting monthly,